What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. My name is Kyle Yates. I'll be with you for the next hour answering your start-sit questions as we go into Week 10. We are 4 weeks away from the fantasy football playoffs, so we have got to win these matchups this week. I'm going to be with you making sure that we get the right advice, getting and processing through it together as we set our lineups for Week 10. Again, we've got some football on the TV tonight with the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans. Should be a really, really good game. I'm excited to watch it, and of course, we'll get to some of the players in that game as we go through some of your questions. Before we get into the Q&A here, I've got to say, if you're watching and you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take 2 seconds out of your day. Hit that subscribe button, helps us out in a big way. Again, crossing over 80,000 subscribers last week, which is just awesome. We're celebrating that here as a company, and we really, really appreciate your support. And also hit the like button on this video as well. Helps us out in a big way. And you can find and follow me on Twitter at KyleYNFL, and also over on Instagram at KyleYNFL. Normally, I would go through and talk through in ECR, talk through some of my favorite starts and sits of the week, but looking at the past 2 weeks, we have gone through and just got right into your questions, and I want to do that again here today as we go through. I'm sure that we'll get to some of my players that I would have talked about here, but I think that the best and most constructive use of our time here is just to get right into it and answer your start-sit questions. So right off the top here, Sandy asks, half PPR. Should I double up on the Washington backfield and start Gibson and McKissick, or go Gibson and David Montgomery, or Chris Carson, depending on who is healthy? So if Chris Carson is healthy, he's going to be my answer here that you would go with. Antonio Gibson, really, really like him this week. I have him as a top 12 option. But then looking at McKissick, I have him pretty high. I talked about him on the Start Sit podcast yesterday that released, saying that I've got him at 21, 22 in my running back rankings in half PPR scoring. So with McKissick, I think that you can get away with starting him. However, if Chris Carson is healthy, I think that he's the answer here, right? Because the Seahawks are not going to roll him out unless he's going to get his full allotment of snaps. They need him on this roster, looking at the guys that they've got replacing, and it hasn't worked out as well. So they need Chris Carson back and healthy. If David Montgomery plays, that's pretty close for me. I would probably just lean with J.D. McKissick, who I think he comes with a little bit of a safer floor. Like, David Montgomery has a great matchup, but this offensive line in Chicago is not helping him out whatsoever. This team is not going anywhere. Yes, it's a great matchup against the Minnesota Vikings, but I think that they're going to continue to throw the ball at a ridiculous pace. So I would go with Antonio Gibson and Chris Carson if he's healthy. If neither of those guys are healthy, I'm perfectly comfortable going with J.D. McKissick. David asks, Standard League, need 2 of these 3, James Robinson, James Conner, and Miles Sanders. All great options this week. I think if you want to play it safe and you want to sit Miles Sanders his first week back from injury, I'm fine doing that. But looking at the matchup here with Miles Sanders, coming off the bye week too, that's something too that is worth noting, that he's well rested. Like, if he's getting in full practice sessions, which he has been this week, then I think that he's all systems go. So James Conner, I expect to bounce back in a big way. That game script last week got out of hand really, really quick. I don't see that happening here against Cincinnati. And then James Robinson, I think, just belongs in your starting lineup every single week. Like, he has done nothing but prove that he can get an insane amount of volume and produce with it. So looking at James Robinson, I think belongs in your starting lineup. And then I would go James Conner. I would sit Miles Sanders out of those 3 just because of the injury concerns, but all of them are top 10 options for me. Need 2 in a full PPR, Zach Moss, Jalen Reagor, or Darnell Mooney. In that situation, I'd go with the wide receivers here in a full PPR format. Zach Moss, not super involved in the receiving game, so I think you can lean into Jalen Reagor and Darnell Mooney. I don't have either of them higher than, like, they're not top 36 options for me, but I think that in a full PPR, you can get away with starting them in your flex options and being fine. They're going to give you a safe floor. Let's look here I lost the question. Who do I start between Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, and Drew Lock? I'm starting Carson Wentz now that you have Miles Sanders back. You have Boston Scott still going to be involved in this backfield. Jalen Reagor, Alshon Jeffrey as a full participant in practice. Travis Fulgham, of course. Dallas Goedert, all coming off of their bye. I think that Carson Wentz can put together a solid enough of a game to be a top 8 option this week. So I will go My goodness, I will go with Carson Wentz out of that group. I have Baker Mayfield at 13 in my quarterback rankings, and then Drew Lock in the streaming conversation, but I'm not going to put him above Mayfield and Wentz. I think Wentz comes with the highest ceiling. Corey Davis or Darius Slayton in the flex in a full PPR. I'll go with Corey Davis tonight. I think that Darius Slayton, I'm not looking to play him in this matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. We saw what happened last time that he was shadowed by Darius Slay. 3 targets, 2 receptions, 23 yards, no score. I just think that he has a very, very limited ceiling in this game. So Corey Davis, I think, can offer you a little bit more of a safe floor. Now, we saw that he went 0 for 0 last week, but in this matchup against the Colts, I think that Corey Davis is going to be needed a little bit more, and I think that he can outperform Darius Slayton. I'll go with Corey Davis there. Josh Jacobs, Mike Davis, or Nick Chubb. You need to start 2 of them. Nick Chubb for sure, and then I'll go with Josh Jacobs. I'm going to sit Mike Davis here. When he was the full starter, he was starting to show signs that he had lost some of his energy and his gas, right? So I think with Mike Davis, he can still provide a safe floor. I have him at RB 13 or 14 in my running back rankings right now. Up against Tampa Bay, not a great matchup either. So I'm going to sit Mike Davis here. I'll go with Nick Chubb, assuming that he's fully healthy and is ready to go. It's a smash spot for him against the Houston Texans defense. And then Josh Jacobs should put together a solid game as well, just on the back of volume. Hunter Henry or Jonnu Smith in a full PPR. In a full PPR here, I'll give the slight edge to Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry is not providing you any sort of ceiling this year. He just has not with Justin Herbert under center. But yet he's providing a safe enough floor. He's seeing targets, which is more than what we can say for Jonnu Smith right now. So Jonnu can find the end zone, and he can finish higher than Hunter Henry, but in a full PPR, I'm going to go with the targets and the receptions, giving that a safer floor with Hunter Henry than Jonnu Smith. Full PPR, Brandon Ayuk or Brandon Cooks or Curtis Samuel. Choose one of them. I will go with Brandon Cooks this week, and then it would be Ayuk and then Curtis Samuel. Robbie Anderson or Travis Fulgham in a PPR 10-man league. I will go with Robbie Anderson here. Travis Fulgham, of course, now has competition at the position with Jalen Reagor back healthy, Dallas Goedert, Alshon Jeffrey. We just don't know what this offense is going to look like with all those options healthy. So I still like Fulgham, but not enough to put him over Robbie Anderson. In a standard league, J.D. McKissic, Duke Johnson, if David Johnson is out, or Curtis Samuel at the flex. I'm going to go Duke Johnson here because he's going to get the most volume, the most guaranteed volume, if David Johnson is out. J.D. McKissic has more value in full PPR formats, and Curtis Samuel has a tougher matchup here. So I have him a little bit further down in my wide receiver rankings. I'll give the slight edge there to Duke Johnson. Chubb, if he's healthy, or Josh Jacobs, I will go with Chubb there. Full PPR, start 1. Darius Slayton, Ronald Jones, Curtis Samuel, or Allen Lazard. So Allen Lazard is difficult because we haven't really heard anything yet on him this week, so he could come back. This is a situation where ask this question again on Sunday morning. Come back here to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel and ask that question on one of our start sits. We'll talk about Allen Lazard if we have more information on him. But for right now, with full PPR, Slayton, Ronald Jones, Curtis Samuel, or Allen Lazard, I'd personally be going with Curtis Samuel out of that group. Darius Slayton talked about him, not super excited, looking to sit him if I can. Ronald Jones, I don't want to invest in this backfield at all, especially in a full PPR format with Ronald Jones. And then Allen Lazard, we just have the unknown. So I'll go with Curtis Samuel there. But again, that's one that you'll want to come back on Sunday morning when we have more information on Allen Lazard. Steven asks, full PPR pick 2. Adam Thielen, Chase Edmonds, Chris Godwin, Justin Jefferson, or Robbie Anderson. So Chase Edmonds, it looks like Kenyon Drake is on track to play in this game. So that, puts Chase Edmonds back to a backup role. So I'm not looking his way. Chris Godwin will be one of them for sure that I'll plug into my lineup. I expect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense to bounce back from that atrocious showing that we saw last week. And then I'll go Robbie Anderson. Adam Thielen, really tough matchup here against the Chicago Bears pass defense, and he hasn't he hasn't been needed much the past couple weeks here. So yeah, I think with Adam Thielen there, I'm going to sit him if I can, and then Chase Edmonds is not in consideration. Justin Jefferson, kind of the same thing with Adam Thielen. So I'll go with Chris Godwin and Robbie Anderson. Start Joe Burrow, Drew Lock, or Tua Tagovailoa. I will start out of that group, Joe Burrow. I talked about him yesterday. I actually do like, I actually do like Joe Burrow a little bit this week, more than consensus. I think that based on everything that I've seen this season with him performing in some difficult matchups previously, I think that he can succeed. And you look at the strength of the Cincinnati Bengals offense, which is their passing attack. It lines up with the weakness for this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, which is the Steelers are actually, I think, the 8th easiest matchup for opposing wide receivers off the top of my head. They can be beat through the passing game. So I'm going to start Joe Burrow here over Drew Lock and Tua Tagovailoa. I'm going to lean into the way that Burrow's been looking so far this year. Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Antonio Brown in a full PPR. Pick 2 of them. I'll go Deontay Johnson and Claypool here. Bruce Arians, maybe it's coach speak, but talking about getting less snaps for Antonio Brown, I don't know why you would do that, but that's where we're at. So with Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, I think that you can start them both up as top 24 options this week. Really like both of them. In a full PPR, should I start Tua, Cam Newton, or Ryan Tannehill? I will go with Cam Newton there. I don't think that he has much of a ceiling, but he's running the football, and he's being utilized around the goal line as that runner. So I think that he presents a safe enough floor. If you want more of a ceiling, then I think you can swing for the fences with Tua, but I think there's more of a wide range of outcomes there. Ryan Tannehill, I don't see having as much of a ceiling in this matchup either, so I would personally be going with Cam Newton, but if you want to go for a little bit more upside, then I think you can start Tua. All right. I have Julio on bye, so my options are McLaurin, Tyler Lockett, Michael Thomas, Robbie Anderson, and Robert Woods. Choose 2 wide receivers and a flex. Okay, so Robert Woods for sure. I love the matchup here against Seattle. We've said it all season long. Just start your wide receivers against Seattle. Terry McLaurin, I'm just going to continue to plug in Terry McLaurin based on the way he's looked so far this year. All these guys are really, really solid options. So I'll just lean back into my rankings. Let me do this. So I have Robert Woods at 12. I know that off the top of my head. So I will start Robert Woods there. I have Tyler Lockett at 7. I have Terry McLaurin at 6. I have Michael Thomas at 9. So, but that might come down by the time I need to look into that game a little bit closer. Just haven't seen the safe, we haven't seen the safe volume, the amount of volume that we've come to know with Michael Thomas. So again, this is excuse me. And then Robbie Anderson at 14. All these guys are really, really solid options. I have all of them as top 14 plays this week. So I think if you want Terry McLaurin for sure, and then I'll go with Robert Woods, and then I will go with Michael Thomas. I think Tyler Lockett does bring some boom potential for you, but I think that he does come with a little bit more of a floor, right? A lower floor. So I think you're going to swing for the fences already. You're going to get that upside with Robert Woods in a great matchup, with Terry McLaurin in a great matchup. So I think playing it safe and knowing what you're going to get with Michael Thomas, that he's going to get targets, right? So I think I'll play that as far as the combination. Hope that made sense. Christian Kirk or Davis in a half PPR. I'm assuming this is Corey Davis. I will play Christian Kirk in that situation. He's been on fire recently. Should I start Deontay Johnson, Jonathan Taylor, T. Higgins, or J.K. Dobbins in a half PPR? I will start Deontay Johnson this week. Love the matchup for him. And then it would be T. Higgins. PPR, DJ Moore, or Jonathan Taylor? I will play Jonathan Taylor there. Not a fan of DJ Moore this week. I think that Jonathan Taylor has a good matchup here. It's going to be a dice roll to see who gets the majority of the carries here, who gets the goal line work, but I think I'm comfortable betting that it's going to be Jonathan Taylor. I have him outside my top 24 running backs, but I have DJ Moore outside my top 36 wide receivers. Robert Woods or Adam Thielen in a half PPR. I will go with Robert Woods. Rager or Evans. I will go with Mike Evans in that situation. Start Antonio Brown, Jacoby Myers, or Jalen Rager. I'm not comfortable starting Jacoby Myers this week as anything more than a high-end flex play against Baltimore. Jalen Rager would be the next one that I go with here because I just don't know what I'm going to get with Antonio Brown. I was saying start him last week if you want to swing for the fences. But I think with if you start Jalen Rager this week, I think that he has an excellent chance of finding the end zone. They're going to manufacture touches for him. I would go Jalen Rager here. Hooper or Dallas Goedert. I'm going to go Dallas Goedert. I have Goedert at 5 right now in my tight end rankings. I have Hooper at 9. So I really like both of them, but I'm going to go with Goedert here and the upside play. Standard pick 2, Kareem Hunt, Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, or Antonio Gibson. In a standard league, I will play... I'm going to play Cooper Kupp because I'm going to go for the upside there with the matchup. And then I think I'll go Antonio Gibson. I think that he has an excellent chance of finding the end zone in this matchup. So I will go with Antonio Gibson and Cooper Kupp. Brandon Cooks or Chris Godwin in a full PPR. I'll start Brandon Cooks there. Less volatility. Brandon Cooks has been playing extremely well recently. I've got some duplicate questions. Scrolling down. Half PPR, Godwin or Jalen Reagor. That one I'll go Chris Godwin. Will Ingram play? Baltimore running back Mark Ingram. I think all indications are that he's going to play in this game, which just muddies this situation for fantasy football. I think at this point we have to view all three running backs as low-end RB3s. I don't think we can comfortably rely on any of these guys now. So I think this is just a situation that you want to see. This is a game that I'm going to be watching pretty closely to see, okay, how do they utilize these three running backs? With what they saw from J.K. Dobbins in Ingram's absence, do they start to put Ingram back on the bench and give Dobbins more work? But with all three here, it's just a situation that you want to avoid if you can. Pick 1, Antonio Brown, Brandon Ayuk, or J.K. Dobbins in a half PPR. I'm going to go Brandon Ayuk here. Really, really like the matchup for him. And I think that you're going to see him as kind of the only show in town here, him being schemed open, him being given those kind of looks that Richie James was given last week. And Brandon Ayuk, of course, has the ability after the catch to make things count. So I will go with Brandon Ayuk there. Is Lazard a secure start if he's healthy? If he's healthy, no. I don't think he's a secure start. I think you can roll him out as a flex option, but I don't think that you can view him as someone that is a locked-in wide receiver 3 with upside, right? So Lazard, of course, he comes with concerns. We don't know what his target volume is going to be, what his snap count's going to be coming off of his injury. We just don't. There's a lot of unknowns there. So to classify him as a secure start, I'm not there. I think if you want to roll him out as a flex option for the upside, then I'm fine doing that. Stream Tom Brady or Baker Mayfield. I will go with Tom Brady still. I think that what we saw last week is about as low as we're ever going to see from Tom Brady. I was in Scott Fishbowl. I was up by 0.4 points, and I had every other player was done except I had Tom Brady left to play. And with Scott Fishbowl in the scoring format, I ended up losing that game by 11 points. So I get it if you don't want to go back to the Brady well here. But I think that against Carolina, this offense should bounce back. We should see them continue to put up points. So I'm going to go Brady here. I think he's a little bit more of a safer bet than Baker Mayfield. Although I do have Mayfield just inside that streaming consideration and just outside my top 12. All right, a lot of duplicate questions. Start Ryan Tannehill or Drew Lock. I will start Ryan Tannehill in that situation. Drew Lock, just a lot of unknowns there. I don't want to bet on him just yet. I think if I see one or two more games, then of this type of performance, that I would consider playing him over Ryan Tannehill. But for right now, I don't think we can bet on that just yet. So I'm going to go with the safe floor that I think Ryan Tannehill can provide. John Brown, Jalen Reagor, or Jordan Wilkins for the flex position in a full PPR. I'm going to go with John Brown here. I think that you're going to see this game is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think you could see it easily turn into a shootout here. So with John Brown, again, revenge game narrative, I think that you can see him find the end zone in this one, and I think that he's going to see a lot of work. So he bounced back in a big way, fully healthy. He, of course, missed practice yesterday, but I think he's done that for the past several weeks. It looks like it's just a veteran's rest day on Wednesday. He should return to a full practice today. So I think you can start John Brown over Jalen Reagor, and especially over Jordan Wilkins. I'm not really looking at playing Jordan Wilkins. T. Higgins or Antonio Brown in a half PPR. I will go with T. Higgins there. Gentry, love the show. Yates, thank you so much. Half PPR. Need some flex help. DJ Chark, Melvin Gordon, Alan Lazard, or Murray. I'm going to assume that's Latavius Murray. If those are the options, I'm clearly going DJ Chark here. Huge blowout performance last week. I expect that to come back down just a little bit. I'm not expecting the same type of production that we saw from Chark and Jake Luton this past week. But yeah, I think that compared to those other options, I think you can comfortably roll out DJ Chark there. Ryan Tannehill, Drew Brees, or Drew Lock. I will go with Drew Brees here, actually. I think that Brees presents a safe enough floor and yet has some upside in this matchup. So I will start Drew Brees there. I have him as a top 10 option. Ryan Tannehill at 15 and Drew Lock, I think, at 16 or 17. Full PPR or Brandon Ayuk, Brandon Cooks, or Curtis Samuel. Choose one of them. I will go with Brandon Cooks here pretty easily. Ayuk is in that conversation, but he's a couple tiers down. And then Curtis Samuel just a couple tiers down as well. So Brandon Cooks there, again, he's been on fire recently. I think he deserves to be in your starting lineup. Is Mike Davis a must-start option against Tampa Bay defense? I don't think he's a must-start. I have him at 14, so I think you can comfortably roll him out, and he'll give you a safe floor. But when you look at the other options that you probably have on your roster, he might be an option that you're forced to start. But to classify him as a must-start, I say like the must-start options for me are like 10, RB10 and above in my running back rankings. So I think that, Mike Davis falls outside that conversation. You can comfortably start him. I think you'll see enough volume. But in this matchup, I'm going to try to sit Mike Davis if I can. I don't think I can, though. Chris Godwin or Jalen Reagor. I will go with Godwin there. Would you give up Mixon and Deontay Johnson for Derrick Henry? No, actually. I think I'm going to keep Mixon. He sounds like he's getting close to returning. He might not be back this week, but he's getting close. If you have the wide receiver depth, then I'm fine making this move. But yeah, I think that Mixon presents as much safety as Derrick Henry when he's fully healthy. With his workload, he sees around the same amount of touches as Derrick Henry. So I think you can rely on Mixon and Deontay Johnson. He's a wide receiver too in my rest of the season rankings. So I really like Deontay Johnson rest of the season. It'd be difficult for me to make that move. I think you'd be giving up a little bit too much. Drop David Montgomery to stash the Miami defense for streaming the next 2 weeks. No, I don't think I would drop David Montgomery. I mean, he's still a starting running back. It'd be very difficult to find that. Again, in a 10-team league, you might have some better options, but to drop him for a streaming defense, I can't get there. I would, if it's a flex, running back, someone like if you asked a Jordan Wilkins, do I drop Jordan Wilkins to stash the Miami defense? That I'd probably say, yeah, I'm fine with that. But David Montgomery, assuming that he's fully healthy, no, I don't think you drop him. Please pick two for the wide receiver position. Full PPR, Tyler Boyd, Deontay Johnson, and Darnell Mooney. Tyler Boyd, Deontay Johnson, Darnell Mooney, and Rashard Higgins. I will go with Tyler Boyd and Deontay Johnson there pretty easily. Darnell Mooney, I like this week, but as a flex option, and Rashard Higgins is a little bit even further down than that as a low-end flex. So I am going to go with Tyler Boyd there, who I have inside my top 24 wide receivers, and Deontay Johnson, who I have at wide receiver 16 on the week. Pick 3 running backs in a standard league: Aaron Jones, James Robinson, Kareem Hunt, or Mike Davis. I will go with Aaron Jones, James Robinson, and Kareem Hunt there. Kareem Hunt, people are going to be scared off of Nick Chubb coming back, but we saw that this offense can do. I mean, Kareem Hunt can be a great fantasy option even when Nick Chubb is in the lineup, and this is a fantastic matchup for opposing running backs against Houston. So Aaron Jones I have as like RB3 on the week. James Robinson I have as like RB5 or 6, and then Kareem Hunt at like 12 or 11. So Mike Davis at 14. So I'll stick to my rankings there, and I like Aaron Jones, James Robinson, and Kareem Hunt. Mike Evans or Jonathan Taylor in a half PPR flex. In that situation, I'll probably go Mike Evans. I just can't trust Jonathan Taylor yet. Right. Looking for some new questions. Jalen Reagor or Brandon Ayuk in a full PPR. I will go with Brandon Ayuk. Phillip Rivers or Jake Luton. I'll go Phillip Rivers there, but both of them are low-end QB2s. What should we do with Thielen this week? You downgrade him. He's a low-end wide receiver 2 in my rankings this week, so I still think that you can start him, but against the Bears pass defense, he's not someone that I'm super, super comfortable rolling out there. I think tags is even lower on him than that. So Adam Thielen, he hasn't been needed much recently, and they're going to do everything they can to lean on the run game in this one. And I think Dalvin Cook can succeed against the Bears' run defense. It hasn't been the strength of their unit. So I think you can, I think you can still start Thielen, but I don't think he has much upside in this one. So he's a low-end wide receiver too, probably going to finish around there. You need a win, Jordan Wilkins tonight or Duke Johnson. I'll go Duke Johnson there, assuming that David Johnson is out. And from all indications, it looks like David Johnson is going to miss this game. So I think you can wait and play Duke Johnson there. All right. Looking. Tannehill, Big Ben, or Derek Carr. I'm going to go Big Ben here if he is fully healthy. That's a situation that we'll have to monitor as the week continues. Tannehill a little bit further down in my rankings, and then I actually would play Derek Carr above Ryan Tannehill this week. Carr has actually been pretty steady. Actually, no. I'm sorry. I have Tannehill at 15, Derek Carr at 17. So I think that you can get away with starting Derek Carr. He's kind of in that range where, okay, kind of in that range, but yet Ben Roethlisberger I have at 11. If he plays, I think you got to start Big Ben in this matchup against Cincinnati. I expect the Steelers to just put up points. So I think that Big Ben comes with a huge ceiling in this one. Again, assuming that his knees are fine after he suffered that injury last week. Josh Allen or Deshaun Watson. I will go with Josh Allen there. Both of these guys are pretty high in my rankings. I have Josh Allen at 2 on the week, and then I have Deshaun Watson at 5. I have both Kyler Murray and Josh Allen at 1 and 2. Again, that just kind of speaks to how I feel about this game, how many points I expect to go up on the board, and of course with their rushing ability, both of them. I think that they should be fine options, or top tier options. So Josh Allen there, and then Deshaun Watson a little bit further down. Brandon Cooks or Juju Smith-Schuster. I will go with Brandon Cooks there, but that's close. Lamar Jackson or Teddy Bridgewater. I'll go Lamar Jackson here. I think that he's not providing those huge, big blow-up games, and I think that New England is going to do everything they can to eliminate his rushing potential and force him to throw and to beat them as a passer. But with Teddy Bridgewater, I just can't. I'm not at the point where I can trust him over someone like Lamar Jackson. So both of these guys are outside my top 12 quarterbacks in the week. Sit one of them, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Boyd, Adam Thielen, or Juju. I'll sit Adam Thielen in this situation. I really like Brandon Cooks, Tyler Boyd, and Juju Smith-Schuster this week. All his top 20 options. Thielen falls just outside that. Full PBR, sit one of them, T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, DJ Chark, and Chris Godwin. I will sit Justin Jefferson. Not crazy about the matchup. You'll hear that with the Minnesota pass attack. So I think if you can sit Justin Jefferson, then I would recommend doing so. Full PBR, pick 3 of them: Zach Moss, Christian Kirk, Curtis Samuel, John Brown, Kenny Drake, Dallas Goedert. Okay. In a full PPR, I'm going to go with Christian Kirk, John Brown, and I will go with Curtis Samuel. I think that he's just seeing too many targets. And in a full PPR, I think he brings a safe floor. So with Zach Moss and Kenny Drake, they're barely involved in the receiving game, lowers their ceiling in full PPR. And then Dallas Goedert, he's a little bit of a projection. So I think with those other guys, I think you can get a safe enough floor out of Christian Kirk, Curtis Samuel, and John Brown. And they all come with upside with their respective matchups. In a full PPR, Allen Lazard or Antonio Brown. Again, don't really know anything on Allen Lazard here just yet, so I will go with Antonio Brown in that situation. But that's one that you'll probably want to come back on Sunday morning. Tags does a live stream from 11 to 12 here, and then I do one from noon to 1. And then if you are unable to attend those, we do have a Instagram live that Dan Harris does from 10 to 11. Chase Edmonds, Leonard Fournette, or Darrell Henderson. Chase Edmonds with Kenyon Drake looking like he's coming back this week. I'm not looking his way. I'll go Leonard Fournette in this situation. He'll bring a safe enough floor with his work in the receiving game. Darrell Henderson did miss practice yesterday coming off of a bye. That's not a good sign. So Leonard Fournette here will be my answer. All right. Pick 2 of them, Chase Claypool, Christian Kirk, or T. Higgins. I will go with Claypool and Higgins. I do like Kirk this week, but I have him a little bit further down. Rest of the season in a standard league, TJ Hawkinson, Jared Cook, or Rob Gronkowski. TJ Hawkinson for me. Dude's been on fire. He's been delivering just a steady floor week in and week out. So I'm going to go with TJ Hawkinson here over someone like Jared Cook, who does come with touchdown potential, but yet you're relying on that week in and week out. And Rob Gronkowski, now with Antonio Brown in the offense, I still like him, but he doesn't come with as much of a ceiling that TJ Hawkinson does. So Allen Lazard or Rager, rest of the season, I'll go Jalen Rager there. Drop 1 in a full PPR, so drop 1. Brandon Ayuk, Christian Kirk, Marquise Brown. Wow. I think if you want it out of that group, it would be very difficult right now to drop Brandon Ayuk or Christian Kirk with the way that they're playing. If you want to drop Marquise Brown and you hope that he just continues to do what he's done so far this season, which is frankly disappoint fantasy managers and kind of hinder fantasy lineups, and so someone else picks him up, and then at that point they're forced to play him and he hurts their lineup, then kind of dropping him as a fantasy grenade right onto the waiver wire, then I think that's fine. I don't know what the situation would be where you would be forced to drop Marquise Brown, though. So that's the situation. Like, I think that you might have better options on your roster to drop, but if those really are the only 3 options, then I'm going to drop Marquise Brown. Kenny Golladay for Justin Jefferson. I'll hold on to Kenny Golladay. I don't know when exactly he's coming back. We don't have any clarity on that situation, but with Kenny Golladay, I think he possesses more of a ceiling than Justin Jefferson, with the Minnesota Vikings offense just wanting to run the ball as much as they can. Pick 2, Melvin Gordon, Jamal Williams, or Giovanni Bernard. Melvin Gordon, Jamal Williams, or Giovanni Bernard. I need more information here, Kyle. So with Giovanni Bernard, all depends on Joe Mixon, right? If Joe Mixon is healthy, then you don't start Giovanni Bernard. If he continues to be limited in practice and isn't going to suit up, then you play Giovanni Bernard. Melvin Gordon, man, it's just hard to be excited about him. He's going to have to score a touchdown this week to finish as a top 24 running back. And Jamal Williams now has Aaron Jones ahead of him, but he'll still see some work, but I don't know if he has as much of a ceiling. So I think I would go with Melvin Gordon and Giovanni Bernard, assuming that, that Joe Mixon is out. But then if we get word that Joe Mixon plays, then I'll pivot and play Melvin Gordon and Jamal Williams. I've seen this question a lot. I answered it earlier, but just going to respond. Hunter Henry or Jonnu Smith. I will play Hunter Henry in a full PPR. I think that he brings just a safe enough floor. Again, both of these guys are outside my top 12 tight ends for the week, so not excited about either one of them, but in that situation, I'll play Hunter Henry. Full PPR, flex position, Rob Gronkowski, Dallas Goedert, or Darius Slayton. I will go with... I'll go with Dallas Goedert here. I think that in the flex position, you want to swing for the fences, and I think that Darius Slayton doesn't have that ceiling. Rob Gronkowski, we don't know. There's a lot of unknowns and variables there. So with Dallas Goedert, again, I've got him as a top 5 option at the tight end position, so I'll play Dallas Goedert there. Half PPR, Giovanni Bernard, if Joe Mixon misses. DJ Chark, Curtis Samuel, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, pick 3 of them. I will play, of course, Giovanni Bernard if Joe Mixon misses. Then it would be DJ Chark, and then it would be T. Higgins for me. If Mixon plays, then I'll go DJ Chark, Curtis Samuel, and T. Higgins. Question from London, Christian Kirk or Mike Evans. If you want to play the guy who's been just on fire recently and you want to play Christian Kirk over Mike Evans, not going to bat an eye at that. I think that you can comfortably do that, especially in a game. Talked about it, that I expect points to go up on the board. So Christian Kirk here would be my answer. Full PPR, sit 1, T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, DJ Chark, or Chris Godwin. In that situation, I'll sit Justin Jefferson. Devontae Parker, Brandon Ayuk, or Dobbins at the flex in a full PPR. I'll go with Devontae Parker here over Brandon Ayuk. I think that with Preston Williams landing on IR, I think that it opens up some target share, some target volume to go Devontae Parker's way. Again, you kind of look at it like where else is the ball going to go. So I'll go with Devontae Parker there over Brandon Ayuk, but that one's pretty close. What are your thoughts on LaMichael Pirine? Really don't have many thoughts on LaMichael Pirine. He's not someone who I'm looking at in fantasy football in redraft leagues. I like him in Dynasty, I like him as a hold, but for right now with this offense, with him splitting work with Frank Gore, this offense isn't going anywhere. So I'm not looking to plug in LaMichael Pirine any week into my starting lineup. I have Chubb coming off of IR. Is Jonnu a drop option? I have Dallas Goedert. If you have to drop someone and Jonnu Smith is your only option, I'm not going to fight you on that. Based on, I think we can all sit here and we can say that the talent level dictates that Jonnu Smith should be one of the top fantasy football tight ends. But the Tennessee Titans are asking him to block a lot more than they have previously, and I assume that it's due to Taylor Lewan and his injury. He's not running routes. He's only running 18 total routes a game the past 2 weeks. Like, he's just not being utilized or targeted. Yes, he has a chance to find the end zone, but really, do you want to bet on that every single week? So targets just aren't there. And I think that Goddard has a higher ceiling in this offense. Even if Zach Ertz comes back, I mean, Goddard can fully establish himself as the main receiving option here. So if you have to drop Johnny, I'm not going to fight you on it. Full point PPR, sit 2 of them: Robbie Anderson, Leonard Fournette, Chris Godwin, Justin Jefferson. Sitting 2 of them, I will sit Justin Jefferson, and then I will sit Leonard. Ooh. Yeah, I'll sit Leonard Fournette in that situation. I'll still start Chris Godwin and Robbie Anderson. I think that Godwin comes with a safe floor, and I expect the offense to bounce back. Leonard Fournette just comes with too many questions for me with this backfield. Are we going to see Ronald Jones, back as the starting option? What's that going to look like? Robbie Anderson is just seeing too many targets to sit at this point, and Justin Jefferson has a very tough matchup. So pick one, assuming David Montgomery plays, Brandon Ayuk or David Montgomery. I'll go Brandon Ayuk either way. I think that he has a really high ceiling in this game and should see plenty of targets. Stream Big Ben, Baker Mayfield, or Matthew Stafford. Assuming that he's healthy, I will stream Big Ben. Get some water. All right. Robbie Anderson, Adam Thielen, Duke Johnson. Need 2 of them. So, again, you mentioned assuming that David Johnson doesn't play. And David Johnson, just got a news alert, is not practicing Thursday. I don't think he's going to play this week. Matt Breida is also practicing today. Devontae Freeman walked off the practice field Thursday while partaking in individual drills. So keep an eye on that. And then Broncos head coach Vic Fangio said the wide receiver Jerry Jeudy suffered a shoulder contusion during Sunday's Week 9 loss to the Falcons. He will practice on a limited basis. So keep an eye on that too. All right. So back to your question, Robbie Anderson, Adam Thielen, or Duke Johnson. If David Johnson doesn't play, you need 2 of them. The format here would, I think, dictate this. So actually, no. I think I'm just going to play Robbie Anderson and Duke Johnson over Adam Thielen. Yeah, I'll just do that regardless of the format. I'm going to start Robbie Anderson and Duke Johnson. Sit one of them: Brandon Cooks, Tyler Boyd, Adam Thielen, or Juju Smith-Schuster. I'll sit Adam Thielen in that situation. I like Brandon Cooks, Tyler Boyd, and Juju a lot this week. Duke Johnson, Brandon Ayuk, J.D. McKissick. Choose 2. I will start Ayuk and Duke Johnson, assuming that David Johnson misses, which at this point we do believe that's going to happen. McKissick, I do like him this week, but I will start Duke Johnson and Ayuk over him. Carr, Stafford, Foles, or Drew Lock. All those guys are kind of grouped together. I will start Derek Carr out of that group. I have the rest of the guys just a little bit further down. Matthew Stafford has been kind of a disappointment this year, so I'm really not looking his way, and I think that he's going to be under duress all game long against the Washington defense. So, yeah, I'll start Derek Carr there. Noah Fant or Dallas Goedert in a full PPR, great question. I have Noah Fant at tight end 3 on the week, and I have Dallas Goedert at 5. So I will start Noah Fant there. Half point PPR, Jalen Reagor or T. Higgins. I will start T. Higgins there. Start Joe Burrow, Drew Lock, or Tua Tagovailoa. I will start Joe Burrow. Yates, help me please. Choose one. Duke Johnson, Mike Davis, or Chase Edmonds. Assuming that David Johnson sits and assuming that Kenyon Drake plays, I will start Duke Johnson over Mike Davis there. Again, not looking at Chase Edmonds at all if Kenyon Drake returns to the lineup this week. That's going to be another one. Come back Sunday. We'll be able to answer that one a little bit more in depth there when we have more information. Pick 2, Leonard Fournette, Jamal Williams, Melvin Gordon, or Giovanni Bernard in a full PPR. Leonard Fournette in a full PPR is in my lineup out of this group. And then if Joe Mixon sits, then of course then you're starting Giovanni Bernard. So Leonard Fournette and Giovanni Bernard. Would you start DJ Moore or Duke Johnson at the flex this week? Assuming that David Johnson's out, I'll start Duke Johnson. Fant or Henry? That's Noah Fant for me pretty easily there. I've answered that one. T. Higgins or DJ Moore, rest of season. That's T. Higgins for me pretty easily. Robert Tonyan or Trey Burton. I'm going to roll the dice with Robert Tonyan in the matchup here against Jacksonville. Trey Burton just hasn't been super involved in the offense. Jack Doyle being out could help, but yet Mo Alley Cox actually saw the most targets last week, if memory serves correctly, out of this tight end room. So I think that Mo Alley Cox, now that he's back and healthy, has assumed that pass catching role. So I'll go with Robert Tonyan there. But again, both of them are kind of in that like tight end 11 to 16 range. It's all kind of grouped together. Full point PPR, sit 2 of them. I answered that one earlier. Full PPR, Swift or Landry in the flex. I will go with Jarvis Landry there. I actually kind of like Jarvis Landry this week. Let's find some new questions. Is Tua the real deal in a super flex league? I think so. I mean, I had Tua as my number 2 quarterback in this draft class. Really, really like his talent. His accuracy is on par already with Drew Brees and the way that we talk about Drew Brees. So love his talent. It's going to be now, can the Dolphins surround him with a good enough, supporting cast? So this year, as far as like his fantasy outlook this year, I'm a little bit further down. I'm not ready to move him up to like a top 15 quarterback just yet. But long term, if you're talking about a Superflex Dynasty league, then yes, absolutely. Like he should have been one of the first quarterbacks off the board because of his long-term outlook. I think that he is the real deal. Now it's just going to be, okay, from a fantasy perspective, can Miami surround him with the best supporting cast that they can? Hawkinson or Goddard this week, I will go with TJ Hawkinson. Carson Wentz or Ryan Tannehill, I will go with Carson Wentz there. And then Godwin or Thielen, I'll go with Chris Godwin there. Let me double check that Hawkinson or Godwin. Yeah, so Hawkinson I have at 2 this week, and then Goddard I have at 5. Would you trade DJ Chark for DeAndre Swift? It depends on how desperate I am at running back. If I really do not, need DeAndre Swift, then I'm not trading DJ Chark for him. DeAndre Swift, very, very confusing backfield, very difficult to try and project week in and week out. Not excited to go acquire DeAndre Swift, but again, it all depends on how desperate I am at running back. So I think that you could find someone else on your roster that you could trade for DeAndre Swift. I would probably be trying to find someone else, another running back in your league to trade for other than DeAndre Swift. Full PBR, Robert Tonyan, Trey Burton, or Jordan Reed. Pick one, please. I will go with Robert Tonyan there. All of those guys, again, I mentioned it, are in that tight end 11 to 16 range. Not really excited about any of them, but Robert Tonyan, I'm gonna play the matchup there. Kareem Hunt or Chase Edmonds. Kareem Hunt, regardless. If Kenyon Drake doesn't return, I fully expect Kenyon Drake to return to the lineup this week. Jacoby Myers or David Montgomery. It's David Montgomery if he plays. You just got to lean into the volume and the matchup there. And then Jacoby Myers, very, very tough matchup against Baltimore. Pick a tight end in half-point PPR. Austin Hooper, Dallas Goedert, or Robert Tonyan. Dallas Goedert, for me, I have him at 5 this week. Hooper at 9, Robert Tonyan at 11. Dallas Goedert or Jimmy Graham. Dallas Goedert for me. A lot of Dallas Goedert questions. Eric Ebron, Austin Hooper, or Jared Cook. Pick one of them. I will play Eric Ebron in that situation. Really love the matchup for him this week. Full PPR, Justin Herbert or Lamar Jackson. You got to go Justin Herbert. Deontay Johnson or Chase Claypool. And then you ask, who will get the ball more? No clue. No clue with this receiving core and how the ball is going to be distributed week in and week out. I like Deontay Johnson a little bit more than Chase Claypool this week, but yet at the same time, I have all 3 Steelers wide receivers as top 24 options. I know that I have them as top 24. I might even have them higher than that. I have Chase Claypool at 19, Deontay Johnson at 16, and then Juju Smith-Schuster at 22. So all of them right in that same range. Pick 2, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Chase Edmonds, or Chris Godwin. I will go with David Montgomery, assuming that he plays, and Chris Godwin. Would you sell high on Dalvin Cook, considering his tough playoff schedule, Tampa, Chicago, and the Saints? Is he matchup proof? Yeah, he's matchup proof. I think you just got to continue to plug in Dalvin Cook week in and week out. If you can get a haul for Dalvin Cook where you can get like another safe top tier running back plus like a top tier wide receiver, then of course, then I think that you do that. But yet I don't know where you're going to go. I don't know where you're going to go with selling Dalvin Cook high that you're going to get the proper return on investment. So at this point, like, just ride Dalvin Cook to the playoffs and then just continue to plug him in. I think that he's a safe option week in and week out. Even in those tough matchups, he's going to get enough done. Noah Fant or Evan Ingram. Noah Fant for me. Noah Fant or Hunter Henry. Noah Fant. Should I start Devontae Parker or Justin Jefferson? In a full PPR, I will start Devontae Parker. Standard League, Dallas Goedert or Mark Andrews. I will start Dallas Goedert there. Full PPR flex, Jerry Jeudy or Devontae Parker. Assuming that Jerry Jeudy is healthy, I'll play Jerry Jeudy over Devontae Parker. But like I just said a few minutes ago, it looks like he's going to be limited. So I'll let that go with I'll let that break it, and I'll go with Devontae Parker there. All right. Half PPR, Duke Johnson or David Montgomery. Even if David Montgomery is healthy, I'm starting Duke Johnson over him. Gronk or Dallas Goedert. I will go with Gronk. I have him right now at 4, and I have Dallas Goedert at 5. Both of them are back-to-back in my rankings. I'm expecting a bounce back from this Tampa Bay offense, so I'll go with Rob Gronkowski there, but that is pretty close. Start 2 in a full PPR, Sterling Shepard, Brandon Ayuk, and Chris Godwin. I will start Ayuk and Godwin there. Sterling Shepard dealing with his own injuries. Full PPR for the flex, Travis Fulgham, Will Fuller, or Brandon Cooks. I don't have Travis Fulgham in that same range. However, I have Will Fuller at wide receiver 10 on the week and Brandon Cooks at wide receiver 13. So I will start Will Fuller. But again, like, great options. And Fulgham for me is at 26. Flex, Mike Evans, Jerry Jeudy, Melvin Gordon, or Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake, I just don't know what his status is going to be coming off of the injury, so not fully confident in him. In that situation, I'll start Mike Evans. With Jerry Jeudy, just again with the injury, he might be the one that I go with if he's fully healthy, if he was practicing all week, but otherwise I'll just go with Mike Evans. Not super confident in Melvin Gordon either this week. He's going to have to find the end zone. Let's look here. Jerry Jeudy, Marquise Brown, or Jalen Reagor. Pick one of them. I will go. I'll go with Jerry Jeudy still, even if he's not 100%. I like him a little bit more than Marquise Brown or Jalen Reagor. Reagor would be the one that would give me pause there, but I'll still start Jerry Jeudy and the target volume that he's getting over Jalen Reagor. Marquise Brown I have a little bit further down in my rankings too. Start Mark Andrews, Gronk, or Goddard. Pick one in a full PPR. I'll go with Gronk. Like I said, he's one spot ahead of Dallas Goedert. And then Mark Andrews, I have actually at 8 this week in my tight end rankings. So we need to talk about Mark Andrews not being a solid, locked-in top 3 option every single week. So I think that, that ship sailed until we start to see him string together a couple of dominant performances. And I don't think that starts this week against New England. Then we got to hit the panic button here with Mark Andrews. So I'll go with Gronk and Goddard there. Deontay Johnson, where'd the question go? Deontay Johnson, Devontae Parker, or John Brown in a half PPR. I will go with Deontay Johnson there. Philip, PPR, one tight end and one flex. Philip Lindsay, Devontae Freeman, Hunter Henry, or Dallas Goedert. Again, just mentioned just a few minutes ago that Devontae Freeman walked off the practice field today. Doesn't look like he's going to play this week. Philip Lindsay has a low ceiling in this one, but I'm going to play him as that flex option because I know that he's going to get touches, and then Dallas Goedert as the other flex there, or as the tight end to be able to kind of swing for the fences there. Again, I've got him at 5 this week. Hunter Henry a little bit further down in my rankings. Right. Is the Rams defense a start this week? I think you can start them. I'm not super confident in them going up against Seattle, so I think that you kind of have to downgrade them. They're probably like a borderline top 12 option. So if you've got them, I'm not going to drop them unless there's a clear, waiver wire pickup available. Looking through earlier this week when we did our waiver wire article, there really weren't many defenses that I was saying like, yeah, I'm super excited to pick these guys up. So it's unlikely that you have a better option available. I'll just stick with the Rams. Pick 3, full PPR, Deontay Johnson, Sterling Shepard, or Chris Godwin. So makes it pretty easy because there's the 3 players. So Deontay Johnson, Sterling Shepard, and Chris Godwin. Play Ryan Tannehill today or wait and play Big Ben. I'm going to wait and play Big Ben there. Even if it comes out that Big Ben, on Friday or Saturday, that he's not going to suit up, I think you can find a better waiver wire option than Ryan Tannehill. Who to play at the flex in a full PPR? T. Higgins, Mike Evans, and Devontae Parker. I will play... it's close between T. Higgins and Devontae Parker. I have Devontae Parker at 25. I have T. Higgins at 34, but that's too low. He'll come back up. And then Mike Evans at 24. So I'll play Mike Evans there over Devontae Parker. That might change by the time we get to Sunday. Again, I do deep dives into each of these games as we move throughout the week. So I might change that by the time that we get to Sunday. But for right now, I would play Mike Evans. Thoughts on Corey Davis tonight? I'm not necessarily sitting here saying that he's a top 36 option, but I do think that you can plug him in. I don't want to overreact to one game last week in a very tough matchup. So I think you can start Corey Davis as a flex option. I think that he'll see enough targets this game to be a safe option for you. But I think that, I don't want to overreact here with Corey Davis and completely bench him or drop him or anything like that. Would you trade Adam Thielen for Leonard Fournette and Brandon Cooks in a half PPR? I would. If you want to sell Adam Thielen right now for a potential, starting running back that's getting enough volume out of the backfield as a receiver, and Brandon Cooks, who has been a better fantasy wide receiver than Adam Thielen recently. So, I'm fine doing that. Fournette or Ronald Jones, you're asking the same question we are because we have absolutely no idea what Bruce Arians is going to do on a weekly basis. So, man, not super excited to really roster either of these guys. If I'm forced to pick one of them, I'm going to go with Leonard Fournette. Do I trade Zeke? I think that you can. If you don't want to deal with the headache, go ahead and trade Zeke, but I don't know what you're going to get for him. There are not many fantasy managers that really want to, rely on Ezekiel Elliott right now. So if you want to move on from him, you're going to have to sell him low. And it all depends on what you're going to, just put it out there in your league that Zeke is on the trading block and just see what kind of offers you get. I don't think you're going to be able to get very much, though. T. Higgins or Travis Fulgham. I'll play Fulgham in that situation. Those guys are super close, though. Hooper or Ebron. I will play Ebron there. Hunter Henry or Evan Ingram. I will play Evan Ingram. Mike Davis or Kenyon Drake if Drake is healthy. I think I'm going to go Kenyon Drake there. If he's fully healthy and practices in full this week, then I think I'll play Kenyon Drake over Mike Davis. Love the matchup for him. Pick 2 in a full PPR, A.J. Brown, Robert Woods, or Nick Chubb. In a full PPR, I'll go with the receivers there. I'll go with A.J. Brown and Robert Woods. Robbie Anderson or Deontay Johnson. I'll give the slight edge there to Robbie Anderson. Wayne Gallman or Melvin Gordon. Of course, now with the news that Devontae Freeman, unlikely to play in this matchup, walking off the practice field today. Not really excited to play Wayne Gallman. But again, in comparison of Melvin Gordon being that other option there, I don't know if you're really going to have. Both of them are low-end running back 2s for me. Just not super excited against Philadelphia. It's not a matchup that I'll go with the better matchup there. And I'll go with Melvin Gordon against Las Vegas. If Devontae Freeman doesn't play, I think you're going to see Wayne Gallman factor in Alfred Morris. You just need Wayne Gallman to find the end zone. So I'm going to play the matchup there. I'll go with Melvin Gordon. PPR, Cooks or Chark. I will go with Brandon Cooks. Start Watson or Herbert. Great question. I have Watson at 5. I know that. And then I have Herbert at 6. So I will play Deshaun Watson over Justin Herbert. That's going to be a really, really fun game to watch, though. Tua Tagovailoa and Justin Herbert facing off against each other. Brandon Cooks or A.J. Brown, rest of the season in a standard league. You got to go with A.J. Brown. Or you said A. Brown. So is it Antonio Brown or A.J. Brown? If it's A.J. Brown, then he's the answer there. If it's Antonio Brown, then I'll take Brandon Cooks. Just a few more questions, guys. Full PPR, Antonio Brown or Deontay Johnson. I will go with Deontay Johnson there pretty easily. Full PPR, sit 1, Chris Godwin, Robert Woods, or Terry McLaurin. I'll sit Chris Godwin there. I really like McLaurin and Woods this week. So Godwin comes with a little bit more uncertainty. I still have him as a top, 18 option or whatever, but I do think that in comparison with those other two, I'll play Woods and McLaurin. In a full PPR, Jonathan Taylor or David Montgomery. We won't have clarity yet on David Montgomery, and you got to make that Jonathan Taylor decision tonight. So I think you just start Jonathan Taylor. They'll be in the same range for me, honestly. Mike Davis or Leonard Fournette. I will go with. I'll go with Leonard Fournette there in a full PPR. Actually, no. I'll go with Mike Davis in a full PPR. Comes with a little bit more certainty on his role. Leonard Fournette, we just have no idea what this backfield's going to look like, so I'll play Mike Davis there in a full PPR, but that's close. They're in the same range. 2 more questions here. Mike Gesicki or Irv Smith? I'll play Mike Gesicki with Preston Williams going out on IR. I think it opens up a little bit more passing volume here or receiving opportunity for Mike Gesicki. And then let's go with... Got a last question. We got to make it good. 2 flex spots in full PPR. T. Higgins, Corey Davis, David Montgomery, and Zach Moss. Pick 2 of them. In a full PPR, I will go with T. Higgins for sure. And then with David Montgomery and Zach Moss, we're not going to know on David Montgomery. Hopefully we get an update here on David Montgomery today to find out what his status is in the concussion protocol. I'll sit Corey Davis in this one. I'll wait to find out between David Montgomery and Zach Moss. So then if we find out that David Montgomery is not trending towards playing, then I'll play Zach Moss. If David Montgomery does play on Monday night, then I'll play T. Higgins and David Montgomery. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in over the last hour and hanging out with me for a little bit here. Hopefully we answered your start-sit questions. Even if we didn't get to yours exactly, hopefully we answered a question that helped answer your start-sit questions. So, guys, we got football on the TV tonight. It's a good day. Go out and enjoy your weather. Enjoy the weather out there. And, guys, we will talk to you soon. See ya.